Morning everybody and welcome back to Pantry Pop's Crafting Joyful Moments with me, Helen Armstrong. It is Saturday today and you know what that means, it's Simply Made Saturday. Today we are using, I've just put it on the floor, let me just get it. We're using the Coneflower Celebrations stamp and this is currently in our annual catalogue which is running until the end of April. And that is the Coneflower Celebrations. I always want to say cornflower because I'd never heard of a coneflower before getting this set, but it is Coneflower Celebrations. So we're going to use the main flower stamp and we're just going to build and we are going to layer. And the main colours I'm using today are Petal Pink and, let me just double check, Flirty Flamingo. All right, so I've cut the base, card base, which is 14.9 times 21 centimeters, and I've scored it at 10.5. I have a matte layer here in Flirty Flamingo, so this was Petal Pink, the base layer. I've got a matte layer in Flirty Flamingo, and that is 14.4 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And then I have a white stamp layer, which is already on my Stampin' Positioner, and that is 13.4 by 9 centimeters. And we have a white inside layer, which is going on the inside of the card, and that is 13.9 by 9.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to put that to one side as well whilst we're doing our stamping. Okay, so let me just pick up the stamp. I've put it on the Stampin' Positioner. I've made sure that it's there just in case it lifts up. Stays in position, which is really, really good. I'm actually using VersaFine Clair ink. This is not something that Stampin' Up do, but they are bringing out a hybrid ink in the new May to August online catalogue. So I'm looking forward to getting that one because that will let me use it for watercolour and also the blends. The reason I'm using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne is that it lets me use the alcohol blends without smearing. Okay, let's redo that. It obviously didn't ink it very well, so let's just put that back where it should be. Turn it over, re-ink it. And press down. The Stampin' Position is also available, well, will be available in the new catalogue, which is coming out on May the 5th. Okay, still managed to miss one little bit at the bottom. That's just me not pressing hard enough. Okay, let's go back down. Okay, happy with that. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is put that back in. I'm going to move that stamp. And I'm actually going to use my blocks for this one. So how are we all on this wonderful Saturday morning? Here in the UK, it is beautiful and sunny. I hope it is wherever you are. Just going to make that move slightly. Again, I'm inking up in the VersaFine ink, and I'm going to just position that there, press down. Brilliant. So I've now got my stalk, and the last thing I need is my leaf. So I'm picking up that. Remember, we always, when we're stamping, we try and put the stamp in the middle of the stamping block. It just makes it sit that little bit better. Okay, right. Just realised I must have moved that ever so slightly. I'm not positioned my card back in. That's my fault, but I am going to use it. I'm going to carry on going because I just think we can add that little bit of extra 3D dimension. Okay, so we're now going to colour this in. I'm going to start with my darkest Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to go in here into the cone bit of the thing itself. to go in a little bit darker here at the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to take our lighter one. Oh, actually, no, let's stick with the dark one. And I'm just going to do some darker streaks coming down here. And then I'm going to take the lighter one and I'm going to blend it down. And then I'm going to take the dark petal pink and I'm just going to blend over the top of that just to give it a little bit more dimension. And that petal pink really does lift if you go over the top of the pink, the Flirty Flamingo. It really lifts it and gives it a slight orange tinge. Again, I'm doing this very quickly. You would take your time over this. This is just me being very quick because I don't want the videos to be too long. And I'm just going to add a touch of the dark Flirty Flamingo just under here, just to pick up those slightly darker bits underneath. Again, just to give that little bit of dimension. And I'm actually just going to pick up there to give that, pick up that slight shadow that I actually made when I was doing the stamping. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, next thing we're going to need is some green. So I'm going to pick the Granny Apple Green and I'm actually going to go with Lemon Lime Twist, I think, just for our leaves. So I'm going to go in first of all with this is our dark Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to come in with the light Granny Apple Green. Again, blending out. And then I'm going to end up with the Lemon Lime Twist, but I'm going to go in with the light Lemon Lime Twist. Again, going over the top because it does change the colours and it just makes them blend ever so slightly better. Okay, so I'm now going to use the Lemon Lime Twist first of all on the stalk of the coneflower, and then I'm going to come in with the dark Granny Apple Green. Okay, and then just to add a little bit extra, I'm just going to do some splattering with the light petal pink, sorry. Don't know whether that'll actually show up, but we'll see. Let's use the lid instead. Okay. That's better. Okay. I'll pick up a little bit of the light Flirty Flamingo. I know people always say you should have white space. You can have white space with a little bit of splatter on it. Okay, so that's the front piece of our card. Let's just move those out of the way. And before we do anything else, I'm just going to stamp in the middle, and I'm just going to use our leaf stamp just to stamp in that corner. Oh, I didn't do that very well, did I? The magic of being able to turn your card over. That's much better. Okay, and then we're going to quickly colour this in. A bit of that dark granny apple green, and then let's come in with the lemon lime twist. And then we'll pick up light granny apple green at those edges, just to bring those in. Okay, and again, I'm just going to do a little bit of splattering. And then that just picks up the front and the back together. Okay, so we now have those bits. We don't need our pens anymore. We can put those to one side. And we can bring in our trimmer because we're going to be trimming up this stamped image. Now, I've got the dimensions here that we need to be cutting this in half at 4.5 centimetres because it is 9 in total. So if we go to 4.5, just make sure I'm in the frame, 4.5 centimetres. And we're going to cut it down the middle. Okay, and then we're going to swap these over, and I'm going to cut this one at, I think I decided 9.4. So about there. Okay, so we've now got those two pieces, and then this one needs to be cut at 4.4. Okay, so we've got 2 squares just about and 2 rectangles. So let's bring in our card base back and our matte layer, and let's get building the card. Okay, so first of all, we're going to put our matte layer down. So with some glue. So this is the wonderful Tombow green glue, which gives us a little bit of wriggle room when we're adding things to matting and layering. It just means that we've got that little bit of time to space things out correctly. But you know me, I don't think there's ever been a video where I've got this spot on. And yet again, nope, still not happening. Okay. And the next bits we're going to add are these. So we're essentially going to put our jigsaw back together, but we're going to make sure that we leave a little slight gap in between the layers. Like that. Yeah. So that is what we're going to do. So now we're just going to add the first one. Again, I'm going to use the multi-purpose glue. Just going to make sure that we go right about there, I think. So the trick is to try and make the edges all the same, but you know me, it's never going to be that way. Okay. Let's do our top one. So today is officially the first day of spring. I know some people, especially in my household, go off the what we call meteorological spring, which the weather forecasters go off, and that's the 1st of March. But in our house, in my household when I was growing up, the first day of spring was always my dad's birthday, which was the 21st of March. So that's how I remember it. And it is, as I said before, an absolutely gorgeously beautiful spring day. And I'm looking forward to going to our local art design market in Wilmslow to have a mooch around, maybe get something nice to have with our coffee later. It's always nice on a Saturday to have a little treat, I feel. Okay, so that's that bit. Now what I haven't done is I haven't done a sentiment, but we'll quickly get to that after I put the middle into the card. Okay, that's our middle in. So let's just quickly grab some card. And let's grab our stamp set and see what sentiment we have. Ooh. Okay, so we have happy belated birthday, celebrating you, it's your day. Let me just have a look, see what we've got. Okay, that was me not putting the backing properly on my stamp set. Don't do what I do, make sure that you always put the backing on your stamp set. Okay. Let's just go for celebrating you. I'll make sure I don't do that again. So we're going to have to clean those stamps now. It's a job after I finish doing this. But first of all, we need to make sure that we get all that off that bit there. Let me just get a baby wipe. As usual, you can always hear things falling in the background of my videos. As I said before, I do stamp in my living room, so my space is limited. But I have to say, even when you were stamping in my dining room and had a bigger table, things were still dropping off the side, so I can't really say that it was the space issue. Okay, like that. So celebrating you. Well, let's quickly trim this down. I'm just going to cut here and here. I think I actually might make sure that that is straight, would be good. I'm actually going to leave it like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those pens. I'm just going to do a little bit of brushing at the edges. Just where they can see, so I'm just brushing at the edges. So I'm just lifting the colour from the back of the card and putting it onto this one. So I'm just doing a slight border around. A bit organic, nothing too serious. And then let's add that to the card. I do apologise if things keep going out of frame. I'm hoping they're not. And those of you with eagle eyes will also have noticed the long pink nails have gone and short green nails. These are actually the length of nail, my natural nail. So yeah, still undecided. I like the colour, but the length is really doing my head in, unfortunately. But you know what, nails grow, so there we go. Okay, so I will leave that card there for you, just so you can have a quick look, and you can take a screenshot of the measurements if you wanted to. So that was Simply Made Saturday on Saturday the 21st of March 2026. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, everybody, craft your joy. Take care. Bye.